appreciate that. How's everybody today? Y'all ready? Man, my name's Roy Heatherly. I'm President and CEO of the Monroe Chamber of Commerce, and it is an extra beautiful day in Monroe, Louisiana. It's an extra beautiful day in Sterlington, Richwood, West Monroe, all over the quadruplex, as Mayor Brown would say, all over Ouachita Parish and all over North Louisiana. You know, as I look around the room, you know what we do? We celebrate here. We're a community of celebrations, and we're going to start that celebration right now. We're going to show the speaker how much we appreciate him being here and that we're the most patriotic community in the world. So I want everybody to stand up. I want you to grab those flags at your seats. Now, start waving those flags so he can see them. Now we're going to cheer in just a minute. So today I have the pleasure to welcome each of you. Today, all of us have the high privilege and distinct honor to welcome the 56th Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, our good friend, the Honorable Mike Johnson, the beautiful Bayou Point. When I count 3, 2, 1, like we always do, blow the roof off Bayou Point. 3, 2, 1, yay! Y'all keep standing because I'm going to bring Brian Mercer up here. Reverend Dr. Brian Mercer, and he's going to give our invocation and pledge. But Mr. Speaker, we are so glad you're here, and we want you to know we think you're the first Speaker of the House ever to visit Monroe, Louisiana, and we are honored by that.
Would you pray with me? Almighty God, creator and sustainer of all that is, was, and is to come. Lord, we thank you for this gathering and for your great creation. We thank you, O God, for creating mankind in your image, and that all that we experience that is good in this world is a reflection of your love, grace, and mercy. We thank you for Speaker Mike Johnson and the manner in which he leads our great state of Louisiana, and specifically North Louisiana. May you, loving Father, lead him as he leads our nation. Anoint him with the wisdom of Solomon, the courage of David, and ultimately the love of Christ as he serves our state and country. Lead us as well as we seek justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with you, O God. Bless our meal, the hands that have prepared it, and the nourishment we will gather from it. May all that we have and all that we are, may we offer it to Christ and to his service. We pray this and all things in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and all God's people said. Amen. Amen. If you would please join me now in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic to which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you, Pastor Brian. Well, wow. This is truly an exciting and memorable day. It's also an exciting time to be in Monroe in Northeast Louisiana. Our world, our lives are changing right before our eyes. Every time I speak, I get to share Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declared the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and give you a very, very bright future. Our conversations today are much different than they were just 4 years ago. We're a community that is back. We're a community that is proud. We're a community on the move, and we are a community that the whole world is watching. Matthew 5:14-16 says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Ladies and gentlemen, our light is shining bright, and we are leading the way. I truly believe that each night when people across this great nation go to bed, they see this bright beaming light in the southern United States, and it's North Louisiana. And I think it's keeping them up at night, so much is going on here. So give yourselves a round of applause. Mr. Speaker, we are so honored that you're joining us today. You are an American hero with the toughest job in America. What you continue to do day in and day out in service to all of us is nothing short than amazing. We are blessed by your friendship, and we're privileged that you represent us. Every day you get up with a servant's heart and a mission to make our country, our state, and your district better. You're a testimony to letting your light shine before others. Through your work, you glorify God. You are shining bright, Mr. Speaker, and speaking for all of us in this room, we want to say thank you. And I mentioned you have the toughest job in America. I imagine there's days you wake up and you just shake your head. I want to share Teddy Roosevelt's quote about the man in the arena, because to me it speaks to you. Someone who goes into the arena of different opinions and different agendas every day, and someone who stands strong on their beliefs even in the face of critics. Roosevelt said, "It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena," and that's you, Mr. Speaker, "whose face is marred by dust, sweat, and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcomings, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat." Mr. Speaker, we appreciate you, and I have a gift for you. This is a Monroe Chamber golf ball, and I want you to have it. Now, the story of golf, it was invented years ago in Scotland, and the original ball was very, very smooth. And their Tiger McWoods and all those guys, when they began to hit it, it wouldn't go very far, and they couldn't control it. It would go this way and that way. But guess what, Mr. Speaker? The more dense it took, the more bangs it had, the more it went further and straighter. So every time you get a critic criticizing you, know that that's going to make you go further and stronger, okay? Thank you. Now, I want to introduce our head table. You met Reverend Dr. Brian Mercer. Next to him is Dr. Ray Morrison, Dean of VCOM Louisiana campus. Next to him is Dr. Justin Hoggard, Chancellor of our Louisiana Delta Community College. Next to him is the 2024 Chairman of the Board of the Monroe Chamber of Commerce and Executive Vice President for Guarantee Bank and Trust, Jeremy Harrell. And next to me, to my right, your left, is Dr. Kerry Castile, President of our University of Louisiana, the real University of Louisiana. And Dr. Castile, thank you again for hosting us at this wonderful facility. Then the Speaker of the House, who will be introduced shortly, the Honorable Friday Ellis, Mayor of the great city of Monroe, and the Honorable Shane Smiley, President of our awesome police jury. Please give it up for all of those folks. Now, we have tons of sponsors, and you just kept coming in. In fact, we are still getting sponsors this morning. They're on the boards. If you all could wave your hands. You are the economic engine in the Hall of Fame businesses. If you all could wave, and let's give them a round of applause, please. We have a lot of elected officials with us today, and we have so many we're not going to read their names, but if you all could wave. I know the Speaker would like to see who's here, so I know Congressman Alexander's here, Mike Walsworth's here, Tony Bacon's here, our police jury's here, our city council. So you all wave, please, and give those folks a round of applause. With the Speaker, his staff, he's brought some good friends of ours. First is Chief of Staff Ruth Ward. Then Chip Layton, another good friend, is Deputy Chief of Staff. Kathy Babers is Community Liaison, and she's over here a lot. Griffin Neal, Louisiana Communications Director, and Elizabeth Kalmbacher is Press Secretary. Please give it up for them. Now, it's my pleasure and honor to welcome Dr. Kerry Castile, President of the University of Louisiana, to offer a welcome on the President of the University of Louisiana at Monroe. Excuse me.
So just wanted to give everyone an official welcome to the University of Louisiana Monroe, and I am your 10th president of the University of Louisiana Monroe. So it is my absolute honor to tell you, Speaker Johnson, how much we really appreciate you being here, everyone in the room. I did hear, though, a little birdie might have told me that you spent a little time at Louisiana Tech this morning. It's okay.
They were the warm-up.
They were the warm-up. I did hear that you got a jersey.
Hey! Yeah!
Hold up. Let me explain something really, really hope this is okay if you give me a few minutes. Number 31. 2031 will be 100 years of the University of Louisiana Monroe. You also have a signature here. It says, "Go Warhawks," our head coach, Bryant Vincent, 2025. Now, I am sorry to all of our Tech fans, but this president says, "Wreck Tech." So, welcome everyone to the University of Louisiana Monroe. It's our great pleasure. And let's go Warhawks.
All right. Now I'd like to invite my good friend Mayor Friday Ellis to come up and offer a welcome on behalf of the city of Monroe.
So this morning I'm going to get my beard trimmed, and my barber is telling me a story about the very first time that he met Congressman Mike Johnson, and it was at Louisiana College graduation, and that the speaker gave them a charge, and he said to take God's word for what it says and to take a step of faith in whatever you do, but always allow him to guide your steps, which we all know is a subtle nod to Proverbs 16:9. The young man said he walked across the stage and he shook your hand and he said, "I accept your challenge, sir." Well, sir, I want you to know that young man that you laid that challenge down for recounted the story of him stepping out on faith to open a barbershop. He said, with lots of prayer and petition and talking to my wife and remembering that in the back of my head, he said, it gave me the courage and the faith to step out on my own and start my shop. And so when I tell you that every chance that I've met with you, you've always left an impression on me. And I have no doubt that wherever you go, you leave an impression on everybody else that you run across. And so I sat there and I was thinking about, what would I say to this crowd today about Speaker Mike Johnson? And the more I thought about it, it goes back to a verse that I hold dear, sir. And it sits in a Bible in the office on the ledge, and it's opened up to it every day when I come in. But it's Joshua 5:13 through 15. It's right when Joshua has crossed the river and he is ready to lay siege on Jericho. And then there's the angel of the army of the Lord who shows up, and he says, Joshua approaches him, he says, "Are you for us or are you against us?" And that's a moment for Joshua. And it should be a moment for all of us as a daily reminder that it is not our duty to ask God to take our side. It's our challenge is to align ourselves with his purpose. And that's the kind of leader we have in Mike Johnson. He doesn't sway when the wind blows. He is steadfast. He doesn't chase cameras. He leads with conviction. Now, some of you may not always agree with his positions. Some may say, I wish he wouldn't lead with his faith out front. But what I know is that these two, his faith and who he is a package deal. And it's who he is to his core. He's a man of integrity. He's a man of his word. And what you see is what you get. And in Washington, D.C., that is a rare commodity. So let's be clear, this isn't just about style. This is about making sure that Louisiana and our people aren't just remembered, that we're respected. And so today, sir, I just don't want to say thank you. I want to say, welcome home. We're all so proud of you, sir. God bless you and everything you do, and welcome to Monroe.
Thank you, Mayor. And now I'm going to call on Jeremy Harrell with Guarantee Bank and our immediate past chair to introduce the speaker.
Thank you, Roy. Friday, good job on the beard trim. I see you also got a haircut.
Watch it.
Ashley, you can use that later if you need to. Good afternoon, all. Speaker Mike Johnson is the 56th Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives and a Republican member of Congress, proudly serving Louisiana's 4th District. On October 25th, 2023, he was elected unanimously by his House Republican colleagues to serve as the Speaker. After a tenure of less than 7 years in the House, Mike was given that honor faster than any person in history except for Speaker John Carlisle way back in 1883. He was reelected on January 3rd, 2025 to continue serving as Speaker of the House for the 119th Congress. As a member of Congress, he represents the nearly 760,000 residents of 20 parishes in the Northwest, Northeast, and Western regions of our state. Mike was first elected to Congress on December 10th, 2016 by the largest margin of victory in his region in more than 50 years and is currently serving in his 5th term in Congress. Prior to being Speaker, Mike was elected by his colleagues to serve as Vice Chairman of the House Republican Conference, one of the 7 elected leadership positions for Republicans in the House of Representatives, as well as Deputy Whip. He was also previously honored to serve as chairman of the Republican Study Committee, the largest caucus of conservatives in Congress, known as the intellectual arsenal of conservatism in the House. Mike is a dedicated husband and father and an attorney who has devoted his life and career to fighting for the fundamental freedoms and traditional values that have made America the greatest nation in the history of the world. He spent nearly 20 years successfully litigating high-profile constitutional law cases in district and appellate courts nationwide, and previously served in the Louisiana legislature from 2015 to 2017. Mike earned his undergraduate degree in business administration from LSU in 1995 and his JD also from LSU in 1998. He and his wife Kelly, a former school teacher and now a licensed pastoral counselor, have been married since 1999 and have 4 children, Hannah, Abigail, Jack, and Will, and an older son, Michael, who became part of their family in 1999. Today they reside in Bossier Parish. Please join me in welcoming Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Thank you so much. Thanks for that introduction. It's so painful to sit through your own bio, but at least it was a short version. Thank you to my friends Roy and Carrie and Friday. All 3 of them could be motivational speakers, as you know, and there's an energy that's happening here. And I leaned over when you were talking, Roy. I told Friday, I said, enthusiasm is contagious. And this is a great time to be in Northeast Louisiana. I mean, there's a lot happening, and we feel it. And the story's being told all around the country. I'm telling you, this data center thing has gotten a lot of attention, and I was talking with Mark Zuckerberg himself on the eve of the inauguration 6 months ago, and he was talking about how excited he is and how they think even more investment may follow, and I know you all are tracking all that, but I'm just so great. I just wanted to get a little touch of it, man. I wanted to come just be a part of it for a minute, and I'm so grateful. That's interesting, first speaker to ever visit Monroe. I'm also the first speaker in the history of Louisiana. We've never had a speaker, and so we're doing a lot of firsts right now. But I want y'all to know the whole Louisiana delegation is punching way above its weight limit. I mean, by God's grace, we got really the most, they're writing this. We have the most powerful delegation in Congress, and we're one of the smallest. I'm the speaker, and Steve Scalise is the majority leader. That's the first time in the history of Congress that one state has had the top 2 officers at the same time. It's a remarkable thing for us. Julia Letlow, of course, is an appropriator and just she rose so quickly in leadership in the House because she's so talented. Clay Higgins, the Cajun John Wayne, is a committee chair. Big, important stuff he's doing. And our 2 Democrats in the delegation, we're all working together as a team on Louisiana issues. But Troy Carter and Cleo Fields, everybody together, because we know this is an important moment for our state, an important and I think fateful moment for the country. And we are just determined every single day to get up and put in 24 straight hours and deliver for the people. Because, look, I get accused of over-spiritualizing everything. You guys have cited more scripture today than I normally do. That's fantastic. I know I'm home, baby. I know I'm home. Because they look at me like I'm some sort of circus freak in Washington when but I remind them that those are the values of the framers of the Constitution, the founders of our country, as they believed in that. They understood that we're a special place for a special time, and we still are. Next year will be our 250th anniversary as a nation, and that is no small thing. It's also no certainty that we'll have another 250 years, should the Lord tarry, right? We're still an experiment in self-governance, the grandest experiment that's ever been, and it's been wildly successful. We live in the greatest nation in the history of the world. It's not even close, objectively. I'm a constitutional law attorney. I used to go do seminars on this. I could put on my case today, but I know I'm preaching to the honor choir. You get it. But we are the greatest nation. We're the most powerful, most successful. most benevolent, most free nation it's ever been on the earth. And the reason is because we are founded on these certain principles. And our challenge right now, in whatever area we're serving at the time, whatever our vocation, whatever area of leadership we're in, is to defend those foundations. I will cite scripture, Psalm 11:3. If the foundations be destroyed, what will the righteous do? I mean, we're having policy debates and all of that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that here, but more fundamental than that is preserving the greatest nation in the history of the world. I believe that God gave us an opportunity last fall in the election that we were at a kind of a crossroads as a nation. And I believe he's blessed us with another chance. And so I don't take that lightly, and I know you don't either. And so every day I'm just trying to get up and be faithful. I love what John Quincy Adams said. He was our 6th president. After he served as president, he got elected to serve in the House of Representatives. People say, what is wrong with him? Why did he do that? Well, he did it because he wanted to eradicate slavery. And so he ran for the House, and that was his driving force. They called him the hellhound of slavery. He's also, history records, he was the most intelligent person who ever served in the office. His IQ was off the charts. He was well-read, and he was a man of deep faith. And so on about the 13th failed attempt at his resolution to end slavery, a younger member of Congress approached him on the floor. I know exactly where he was sitting. We have a little marker on the floor in what is now Statuary Hall, the original chamber of the House. And they said, they still called him Mr. President. Mr. President, you failed again. You're going to do it again, aren't you? He said, yes. Sir, why do you keep bringing it? You know you're going to fail. And he didn't bat an eyelash. He looked straight at the younger member of Congress and he said, young man, duty is ours, results are God's. It's a very liberating way to live. And I just know that, as you know, that we do our part, do our duty, we're faithful in that. And God will deliver for us. And he is, all over Louisiana and here as a bright, shining star, helping to lead the way for our state at this historic moment. I want to tell you, there's a lot I could share. I know we're going to do some Q&A, I think, which would be probably even better use of your time than you hearing a long speech from me. But I want to tell you that we are going gangbusters in Washington right now. This Louisiana delegation is delivering for the people. We're fulfilling our campaign promises. And not the least of those was what we just delivered with the One Big Beautiful Bill. And the reason we called it that, the president named it, not me. Okay, One Big Beautiful Bill. Okay, it is what it is. Because he said, you know, it's all about marketing, right? He said, it's the easiest way to describe it. Yes, it is, sir. Because there's so much in this bill, and I'm telling you, it was written for hardworking Americans. It was written for lower and middle class earners, the people that are going to feel the effects of it the most. And we put the entire America First agenda in one piece of legislation. It was audacious. They said it couldn't be done. Because I'm also dealing with the smallest margin in U.S. history. You might have heard about that as well. I worked so hard during the last election cycle to make sure we kept the House majority. I became Speaker in October of 25th of 2023, and immediately thereafter had to go to work to make sure we kept the majority. Because I believe that President Trump would be reelected. I believe my party, the Republican Party, would have the majority in the Senate and the House, but we knew it would be close. So, I mean, I worked my tail off, and we grew the majority. And on election night in November, the final tally, we had 220 Republicans and 215 Democrats. And I was so excited because, I mean, I delivered. It's a small majority, but hey, that wouldn't work with that. And then the president started culling my herd. You know, he starts pulling people out of the House to serve in the admin. And I wake up and I'm like, I call him, Mr. President, we're down to a 1-vote margin. You can't take anybody else. I'm so sorry, Mac. Did I do that? Yes, you did that. I'll send it back. No, you can't do that either. It doesn't work that way. So y'all, I mean, for about 90 of the first 100 days, I had a 1-vote margin in our majority. 1 vote. I'm really not even Speaker of the House. I'm like a mental health counselor. I just sit down with everybody all day. How can we get you to yes? So that's what we've been doing. But then we had a couple of special elections filled, and so now the margin is 3. But we have a 3-vote margin in the House, a 3-vote margin in the Senate, and we have President Donald J. Trump in the White House. So we're working every day overtime to make sure we deliver, and the big beautiful bill is in that. I could be here all day. I could give you a 3-hour slideshow of all the things in this bill. Okay. But it's big and it is beautiful, and Louisiana is going to benefit greatly. Because not only did we seal the border, secure the border, a historic, once-in-a-generation investment in border security, lock that thing down, closed. There was almost 0 crossings, illegal aliens coming in the country last month. Not only did we do that, we're restoring American energy dominance, which is a big thing for Louisiana, as we all know. We're cutting regulations and spurring on production and exploration, getting the government out of the way so we can provide for our energy needs. Data centers are a big part of that as well, and we can talk about that all day. But we have historic investments in our military because we got to maintain peace through strength, and we're in a dangerous time, as you all know. And so you have to be thoughtful and meticulous about how you do that, and that's in the bill as well. We shored up the safety net programs like Medicaid and SNAP. They were being abused, fraud, waste, and abuse, just rampant, tens of billions of dollars of waste every year. We went in with a targeted approach to strengthen it. We added work requirements, for example, wildly popular in public opinion polls because it makes sense. If you're a young, able-bodied man without dependents, you are not supposed to be riding the wagon. You're supposed to be helping pull it. And we haven't done that in a long time. So you had millions of people who were just gaming the system. So we said, you know what? If you're going to be on Medicaid and you're down on your luck, that's okay. But for 20 hours a week, y'all, you got to either get a job, you have to be looking for a job, be in a job placement program, or volunteer in your community. You know what? Work is good for you. It's good for human dignity. It's good for you and your surroundings. That's a very popular provision. So all these things working into it, but not the least of which is the tax provisions. That's really what this was. And we had to prevent the largest tax increase in U.S. history. That would have happened by default at the end of this year had we not delivered this product and got it done. And we did the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that we passed in the first Trump administration. We made the tax cuts permanent, and then we did it on steroids because we added in all sorts of other stuff to usher in a pro-growth economy. I'll tell you what it's going to mean for the average American family in the state of Louisiana. Wage earners are going to have, on average, $10,600 more in their pocket at the end of the year because of the taxes changes we just got signed into law. The average Louisiana resident who's working and paying federal taxes, they're going to have a reduction in their taxes of $2,100, real money for real people. And we're spurring on economic growth. We're going to make it easier for you guys to do what you're doing with this economic renaissance that's happening here in Monroe and surrounding area, Ouachita Parish. Because what we're going to do is allow small businesses to immediately expense their investments in their equipment and their manufacturing and their facilities and all the rest. Job owners and job creators and risk takers and entrepreneurs are going to be better off because the government's going to be out of the way. And we're going to allow them to flourish. And so wages will go up. More people are going to be employed. They're going to have better opportunities. All boats are going to rise. That is the driving force behind what we're doing. And the One Big Beautiful Bill is a big piece of that. So we can unpack all the details of that, but I just want you to know we're working overtime. We're delivering for the folks, and we have much more work to do. We cannot rest on our laurels. I got to celebrate that big win for about 30 minutes. No kidding. And I had to start next on the next thing. I want to let you in on a little secret. You might have heard by now. We're planning another big bill, Reconciliation 2.0, that I'm intending to do in the mid to late fall. And then we're going to have a third one, I hope, in the spring. If I can keep all these cats herded going in the same direction, we'll do that. So there's more of this to come. We're also doing rescissions packages, requests from the White House to cut clawback spending that is being wasted with fraud, waste, and abuse. That's a big part of this as well. And we have much more to come. Look, we have to spur on a pro-growth economy while also reducing spending because we have a big national debt, you know. I'll just leave you with this analogy, and I'll sit with your questions however you want to do it. But my oldest son, Jack, just finished his freshman year at the Naval Academy, and I was grilling him on his final exams. And he has to study in Naval Academy students have to study all the naval vessels. They got to know all the details of them. And I've been fascinated by the aircraft carriers, these giant vessels that we all know. You see in the movies, and they're out on the ocean. You do not turn an aircraft carrier on a dime. These are gigantic vessels, and when they're at full speed, it takes like a mile of open ocean to turn them. That's what the U.S. economy is right now. We did not get in the situation we're in overnight, and we can't fix it overnight. So it's going to take a series of steps to get us back to fiscal sanity and stability and responsibility. The One Big Beautiful Bill, in my mind, metaphorically speaking, was the first big pull on that wheel, and we have others to go. And these next steps will continue to put us back on track, and we're going to maintain our status as the greatest nation in the history of the world. I opened with about the foundations. I'll tell you this. GK, we're talking about the 250th anniversary next year. All the big celebrations that will be going on all over the country. We're so excited. The president's so excited. It's going to be golden. Yes, sir. Everything's golden. Yes. We're also next year, by the way, just the U.S. I mean, America's back. We're the hottest nation in the history of the world, as he says, and we're back. Next year, we're hosting the Olympics, the FIFA World Cup. There'll be big soccer events going on in like 11 major cities and the big stadiums everywhere. The 250th anniversary. I mean, there's so many things happening next year. We're going to be celebrating, but what exactly are we celebrating? I'll leave you this thought. I try to speak to college and university students as much as possible. I don't have a lot of time in the schedule right now, but I don't miss opportunities like this. And when I can fill up a big auditorium like this, I'll talk to them about the things that are most fundamental. Again, we can talk about policy all day long, but what is it that makes us the great nation? I think it was summarized best probably by G.K. Chesterton. He's a famous British statesman and philosopher, and he said one time, he observed, America is the only nation in the world that is founded upon a creed. And what is the creed? He said it's listed with almost theological lucidity, clarity, in the Declaration of Independence. Our creed is that second paragraph that we all used to memorize. Very few students are required to do that anymore, and that's a problem. But it says, as we all remember, we hold these truths to be self-evident. What is a self-evident truth? It's something that's obvious. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. It does not say born equal. It says created equal. And that is our Creator that gives us our inalienable rights. Among those, the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That statement was such a profound revolutionary thing for a country, for our framers to say and to build a nation upon. We're the first nation in the world that was built upon that truth. We recognized that there is no earthly king that's the sovereign. The sovereign is the King of kings, and that God is the one that gives us our rights, not the government. That's the foundational belief that put us on the trajectory to become the greatest nation in the history of the world. And now we have the stewardship obligation, all of us, every single one of us, and a government of, by, and for the people ourselves, to maintain that grand experiment, to maintain the blessing of God, if we do it the right way. And that's what we're trying to endeavor to do every day, exporting Louisiana values to Capitol Hill. I don't know how else to do it. And some of them don't like it, but they can't argue with the results. So I'll leave you there, and are we going to do
We got some
Q&A?
questions,
Okay, good.
absolutely.
You want me to sit down over here? Okay,
However you want to do it,
Sure.
I got it here. So, we got some questions, we asked some board members, we asked some business community. I asked Chip if the speaker wanted to see these questions, and he said, not at all. So the speaker has no idea what we're getting ready to ask him. And we've got a great one for the last one. And we respect your time, we know you have to be in budget. So here's the first one. How can we as a business community or business leaders be most effective in communicating our needs to the legislature?
Yeah, it's great. I would say that you all do a great job of that. I mean, I see Friday every time I turn around. He's in Washington as much as Monroe. And I know you've been so engaged on behalf of the chamber. In fact, he got a big community award. You know, he's in the Chamber Hall of Fame. Do y'all know that, Roy? I gave him my little meager Congressional certificate award. It was just a tiny little token, and he's got these big trophies and stuff. He's really doing well. Look, the engagement part is so critical because this is really important, and actually it's a good piggyback on what I just said. If you're going to have a government of, by, and for the people, what the framers envisioned was a fully informed and engaged electorate. Because remember, I mean, just in sort of in a word picture, we erased the king as the middleman, and so we said Lincoln said in the Gettysburg Address, we are dedicated to this proposition. We are one nation under God, and that a government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish from the earth. In order for that to work, it means that the people have to be engaged. We are governing, we are self-governing, we're governing ourselves, and so it anticipates in what they hoped and believed. Because there's no king, there's no earthly sovereign to make all the decisions and tell us what to do. We got to do it ourselves. And so they set up this system, this matchless constitutional system we have, with the separation of powers and the checks and balances. But they wanted, particularly in the House of Representatives, they wanted the Congress on the ballot every 2 years. It's a burden to run every 2 years, but it's important because they wanted you to have the most direct access. The people have direct access to the members of the House. And the Senate is a 6-year term, as you know, but that they would be responsive to the people that they represent. And so that engagement is easier now than it's ever been, if you think about it historically. I often think about the Founders era. They had to ride horseback and buggy, to get to the Capitol to be in session. And then their constituents, it was hard for them to advocate for them when they were in session. Now we have electronic means. I mean, everybody's got a cell phone. Half of you text me all the time. I'm like 1,000 messages behind every day. But that's part of it. And then our staff is so fully engaged, and they're here when I can't be here in person. They're here as sentinels, and they're delivering the messages directly. And then many of you come up and fly and do your week in Washington or your couple of days in Washington. It's so critically important. Because for lawmakers at both the federal and state level, local as well, of course, to have that personal engagement, to hear your interests and your concerns and the needs so much, just makes a big difference. So it's well designed, and I would say there's not a lot of room for improvement here. I mean, no kidding. I think this community is doing about as well as anybody I've ever seen. So I would just say I would encourage you to continue that and involve as many people as you can, because it makes a big difference.
All right. Thank you. And that award that I got was probably one of the highest and nicest honors I've ever got, so thank you very much, and I appreciate that. So you kind of hit on some of the things out of the big, beautiful bill. So as we work to move families from public housing to long-term economic independence, what federal investments or reforms do you believe are most critical for supporting workforce development, especially for low-income youth and single parents?
Yeah, workforce development is a big challenge around the country, but certainly here in Louisiana. And especially when you're on the verge of these big economic opportunities. We were talking about all the RFPs that have stacked up. And I mean, you're talking about thousands of jobs coming to the community and extraordinary opportunities. The wages will be going up. I mean, all boats are going to rise together. So in D.C., what we're trying to do is put the most favorable conditions in play as possible. Not just are we doing tax relief. By the way, we've eliminated taxes on tips and overtime, and seniors are getting massive tax relief. 50 million plus seniors will pay zero federal income tax now. All those things are to try to foster the kind of environment to allow for more growth, but you have to have job training. I love not only what our universities are doing, but also our technical schools, community schools, doing great work because they're able to adapt and change on a dime. You see a need, you fill it, you provide a program, and people respond to it. I was just talking to Carrie. They're going to bring, ULM is going to do some, have you announced this already? Am I blowing it? Oh, this is probably supposed to be a press release or something, but they're going to do some really exciting stuff for community outreach to get everybody well-versed on AI, because you're going to be, a leading community on this now, and it helps for everybody to be well-versed in it. I mean, this coordination amongst our institutions and amongst community leaders is really important. And at the state level, they're doing a lot of things as well to foster job training programs and allow for that so that we can adapt to the new economy. AI is going to change a lot of things. Some of it probably not for the better, but it has tremendous opportunity, and we got to use it and shepherd it and move it in the right way. Friday said something that really resonated with me because he's always on branding, with his motivational speeches. But he said, you've heard of Silicon Valley, right? We're Silicon Bayou. Right? I said, trademark it right now, brother. Trademark it right now. We've long been talking about the cyber corridor along I-20, which begins all the way almost at the Texas line, comes all the way across, and each of our universities playing a role in that. But now you guys said this is a big leg up now, the next level stuff. So let's seize that opportunity, but let's get everybody prepared for the jobs. And I know there's a lot of good work being done. We'll continue to try to foster it at the federal level as best we can. And when you have ideas, send them to us, and we'll try to work in a cohesive fashion that way. It's a team approach. It must be. So we'll keep going.
Fantastic. Thank you. So we're going to switch to agriculture. Given the unique agricultural economy of our region, how are you advocating for Northeast Louisiana farmers and agribusiness in the next Farm Bill and federal trade discussions?
Yeah, I just had a giant event right before I came here, just east of Ruston, north of Ruston. We're in Duboc, and that big facility they have here. We had 250 or 300 farmers and ranchers from all over the state, all four corners of the state, because they came to thank us for the work we did in the big, beautiful bill. And if you're not in that community, you may not have followed it as closely, but we did some incredible things for the ag community, farmers and ranchers, in the big, beautiful bill. And what that did was it lightened the burden to getting the next farm bill done, because we took a lot of that policy and wedged it into this big piece of legislation. So they're going to get help with commodity prices. They're going to have better borrowing terms at lower interest rates to keep some of the families, they got to bootstrap season to season sometimes. There have been a lot of challenges. We gave them a big federal supplemental package at the end of last year because we had third and fourth generation family farms on the verge of going under because they couldn't get credit at the banks anymore. So it's a top of mind issue for me and the president. I'll tell you, he says, I love the farmers. The farmers love. I'm sorry, I'm doing his voice. I don't mean to do that. That's why I hear it in my head. But he loves the farmers and ranchers community, and they appreciate everything he's done, and it's top of mind. And we had the National Farm Bureau president over there, Zippy. Some of y'all know him. He came in from Georgia to join us over there in Ruston, and he told the whole crowd just an hour and a half ago. He said, I was in the White House last week, and I was talking to the president about these commodity prices and how it's crushing us, and we're going to lose $200 an acre, in soybeans, for example, this year. He was giving some examples, and he said, the president stopped him and said, "Wait, why?" And he said he was able to go into deep detail with the president and talk to him about it so that he understood it, and that will be implemented in the policies going forward. So I'm very bullish that we're going to be able to get some assistance for those who feed America. And as we know, food security for the country is national security. It's all related. And I have a big ag district. I got one of the biggest ag districts in America, as most of the Republican districts are rural. So those are farm communities. And we'll be pushing these as a top agenda item as long as we have control and have the gavels.
Great, thank you, thank you, thank you. Insurance, both property and auto insurance costs are rising, putting serious strain on Louisiana families and small businesses. From your position in Washington, is there any real hope for meaningful long-term relief, and how can the federal government support state-level efforts to stabilize and reduce these costs in high-risk regions like ours?
Yeah, it's an ongoing concern. At the federal level, we're limited somewhat in our scope on what we're able to do because it's almost kind of a state-by-state approach. So a lot of that battle's fought in the legislature, but we have serious work to do in Louisiana, clearly. We have some of the highest car insurance rates in America, and homeowners insurance is through the roof. Part of that's not our fault. Part of it is because while we are tremendously blessed by geography, living where we do, it's also a little bit of a curse sometimes because all those hurricanes come right up the Gulf and they hit us all the time, and we get tornadoes coming from the west and hurricanes from the south, and it's just always, we have lots of natural disasters, and so over time it raises the rates on insurance. And you have insurers who won't even write in some areas, coastal areas of the state anymore. So it's a crisis, it really is. A lot of that work, as I said, would be done in Baton Rouge, but to the extent that we can do it in D.C., we're working on, for example, flood insurance. You got to have the program at the federal level to be able to backstop all this, and we're watching that very closely. But there's a lot of ideas. I know some of our state legislator colleagues in here can give you an earful on it because they're debating some of that right now. But we got more work to do. We'll keep working on it.
Okay, thank you. You've kind of hit on this a little bit, but with the big, beautiful bill passed, what tangible effects can rural communities expect to see, particularly in terms of funding for local hospitals, community colleges, and essential infrastructure? How will this legislation help sustain and strengthen critical services in areas like Northeast Louisiana?
Yeah, this area, healthcare is a major industry. It's not just important for the health of people. It provides lots of jobs. The same is true in Northwest Louisiana and across the corridor, a big chunk of my district, all the way down south. I have about a third of the state by land area, and rural hospitals are a big part of that, as are the big, larger hospitals as we have here. So we've got to make sure they're properly funded, and we can deliver better health care over time with higher and higher quality at lower and lower cost if you build in efficiencies. There's a lot of ideas on the federal level on how to do that, but we did as much as we could in the big, beautiful bill. The budget reconciliation process is what we use to deliver this piece of legislation, and there are some limitations on what you can do. You have everything in a reconciliation bill has to be related in some way to reducing spending, reducing the budget, reconciling the budget, which is where the name comes from. And so we are limited in big policy changes that we can make. But what we try to do, for example, I mentioned shoring up the safety net programs is a piece of this. And in that, we also set aside a $50 billion fund for rural hospitals in particular, and underserved hospitals, to make sure they themselves have a pool of funds from which to draw if they get in dire straits financially. I think there's a larger health care reform package that is ahead of us on the horizon. There is a lot of talk being done, being handled right now about that, and the details of it are being put together. But we're certainly open to insights and counsel from local folks, hospital administrators, providers in the area, because you can sometimes see blind spots that policymakers in D.C. don't see. We've got some really smart people working on this, and I'm very optimistic we're going to be able to continue. It's on a trajectory, as we said, a series of steps to improve these things, and healthcare is high on the radar.
Okay, we got time for a couple more, and this one, I think they want more of your suggestions. It says, with Meta bringing the largest data center in North America to our backyard, how can small businesses in Monroe, Ouachita Parish position themselves to benefit from this growth rather than be left behind? And what role do you see federal policy playing to support that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think so far as I can tell, having talked to the local leaders here this morning, I think you're on the right track trying to anticipate what is coming and future growth. And I pray this is true, and I believe it is, that this is not a one-time investment here. I think there's going to be more on the way. I really do believe that. I think it will spur further economic growth and opportunity for more and more people. And so to position yourself to be able to benefit from that and be a part of that change is the key thing. It takes a lot of strategic decision making. Now, the challenge we have on that is this is a brand new industry. I mean, we are in blue ocean territory, sailing in uncharted waters on AI, right? So it's hard in some ways to anticipate what comes next because we're literally inventing it as we go. Is the thing. I had Sam Altman, who is the head of ChatGPT and all that. He's one of the leading AI guys. He was in my office last week, sitting on my couch, and he was giving me a preview of the next gen that is going to be released, I think, in a number of weeks. And I won't relay to you some of the stuff he told me, but there is some mind-blowing technology that is like around the corner, like a couple weeks from now, kind of stuff. And I always get a little bit nervous because I'm like, are we going to be living in a science fiction film here? He said, yeah, we just don't know which one it is yet. I'm like, oh, that's great. As a joke, somebody said that. It's not Terminator, okay? But look, it's going to change almost everything, according to these guys. And they know more about it than I do, but it's going to change all industries in big ways and small ways. And so I'm proud that Louisiana is on the front edge of this, and this community is on the cusp of all these changes because I love the values of the people here, and I trust the values of the people here to help direct that bold new technologies that develops, and we'll have a say in that because you're going to be a big part of the production of it. So how that relates to the other businesses and kind of the ecosystem here, I suspect there'll be new businesses that pop up, and I think others will have to adapt. And I don't have all the playbook developed on that yet, but we're going to be doing that together. It's exciting, a little nerve-wracking at the same time, but I'll take this level of excitement and opportunity over anything else we're seeing anywhere else. And we're blessed to have it. We're going to make the most of it. So we'll see. Well, I'll be a partner with you in brainstorming as this thing goes along. So yeah.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
I've already read it. So, Amanda Edge with Energy and Mayor Ellis have both told me that you do, and you've kind of alluded to it here, a great impression of President Trump. And we'd kind of like to see more of that if you could.
Great. I'm not supposed to do this publicly.
You're just among friends.
Oh, yeah. And a bunch of TV cameras. Thank you very much. Yes. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, okay? I'll tell you real quickly how we named the bill, the One Big Beautiful Bill, okay? Because we had some very erudite titles, like legislation. You could be very crafty on acronyms. And we had been working on this bill for like 15 months, and so we went in the Oval Office to have the final meeting before we dropped the legislation. And I'm sitting across the Resolute desk from the president, and I'm in there. We have the Vice President was there, J.D. Vance, and we had Majority Leader Thune in the Senate, and I had Jason Smith, the Chairman of Ways and Means, and several of us. And the president, we're telling him all the details of the final draft, and then he goes, "What are we going to call it?" And so Jason Smith goes, "Well, sir, we have a list of some very smart titles. We think we come, acronyms that will be so clever." And he goes, No. We just need to call it the One Big Beautiful Bill. And we all go, well, it's simple. And he goes, in fact, just think of it. He said, and you used this earlier. He goes, when they say Ohio State, they don't say Ohio State University. They say the Ohio State University. Like you said, the University of Louisiana. And he goes, so that's what take this down, Natalie. The One Big, Beautiful, and he says that. And so she prints it out, and they hand us an 8.5 by 11 page that says, the One Big Beautiful Bill, in like 72-point bold font across the paper. And we're all marveling at that. Wow, this is amazing, yes. And he goes, now, here's the thing. I think it needs an exclamation point. I'm like, sir. I can't, sir. That's not a thing. We can't put an exclamation point in. I don't know, Mike, it really needs it. It's big. Sir, please just allow me this dignity. Don't put, and so I succeeded in that. We don't have an exclamation point. But it should have been like 3, right, okay? Because it's so big and it's so beautiful. And that's, it seemed like a marketing gimmick, but now everybody says it. And the people who don't like the legislation have to say, in the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, which is great. So there's actually some genius to it. Do not ever underestimate the great deal maker. And I'll tell you one quick anecdote. So a week ago, I was at the White House for something else, and a staffer comes and runs and says, Mr. Speaker, the President wants you in the Oval right now. I said, I thought it was like an emergency. So I double time it, and I open the door, I walk into the Oval Office, and he's sitting there, and he has the entire Japanese trade delegation sitting in front. They're making the big trade deal with Japan, and they're all sitting in front of the Resolute desk, and the Treasury Secretary's there, and Commerce Secretary's there, some others, and I walk in, and he goes, speaking. these are the terms, and he starts, laying them out, and I immediately realize what's going on. Oh, this is the big negotiation in Japan. I should probably do the good cop, bad cop thing, And so he lays out the terms and says, "What do you think, Speaker? What would the House think?" And I said, "Sir, that's not good enough, And so he goes, "You see that? It's not good enough." And so the poor Japanese, they're like trying to do this through translators. "Speaker don't like it. Speaker doesn't like it." And so we do this thing back and forth. Anyway, the long story short, I don't know if y'all saw this, but he said, "Mike, what about rice? Rice is a big thing in Louisiana." "Oh, yes, sir, it's a big thing." "Mike, we're going to increase exports to Japan by 37%. Is that good?" I said, "Sir, we've got to do better than that. I can't take that back." I'm telling you, the final deal in the Japanese trade deal is amazing. We're increasing exports of rice 75% with no tariff. And the president said, "Mike, they're going to like that Louisiana rice." I said, "Yes, they are, sir. Yes, they are. We'll supply a lot of it." So that's how it's done. This is the art of the deal. We're getting it done. We'll continue to get it done. I'm so grateful. Truly, honestly, seriously, personally, on behalf of Kelly, my family, could not do it without the encouragement, support, prayers of everybody back home. And we're all in this together. I am your servant, so do not hesitate to call on me. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Appreciate it.